Swamp Thing, number 2, written by Scott Snyder, art by Yannick Paquette. We last left off, Alec Holland was approached by a Swamp Thing after he was accosted in his motel room. Also, there was a giant rot monster, but mostly the approach by Swamp Thing. This issue opens up with the story of that Swamp Thing. Where did he come from? He was a World War II pilot. His name was Calbraith A.H. Rogers. Hell of a name. Anyway, he's a World War II pilot. He's being shot down. He doesn't fear death, but he fears what comes afterwards because the Green has always been calling to him his entire life, and that's why he flew, to get away from the Green. But he realized it was futile in his dying moments, and he was absorbed by the Green and became a new guardian of it. Sorry, a new protector of the Green, a.k.a. Swamp Thing. And he's here with a very important message for Alec Holland that he definitely super needs to listen to. But Alec's like, all right, hold on. First off, message for you. And Swamp Thing's like, I'm listening. He's like, I have given everything to the Green. I died. My wife died. I have these dreams of being a monster and a girl with white hair. I have worked my entire life on this biorestorative formula, which he still holds in his hand. Is this not enough? Is this not enough? Like, if you have any human left in you, you just told me your backstory. If there's any human left in you, leave me alone. And he tries to leave, but the Swamp Thing's like, so I've given up a lot to be here. I need to talk to you. You don't have to do what I say. You just have to listen. And Alec's like, if I listen to you to the end, no one else ever contacts me. No one from the Green. Got it? And he's like, all right, agreed. So he shows him a vision of that giant rot monster, aka Seethe, and he gives a brief explanation on how there's the red and there's the green. And red is for animals, green is for plants, and then there's an other. There's death and rot and decay, and it affects both the green and the red. And this is the bringer of that plague. So you need to stop it. It's the biggest threat, like, to life in every way. Swamp Thing is the one thing that can protect the Green from it. And he just shows him, like, some of the chaos he's giving through some random towns here. And he's like, look, you never learned about him because we like to keep him a secret, and also because we didn't think of him until now. But he knows about you, and he's probably coming to kill you right now, regardless of whether or not you're Swamp Thing, just because of the fact you were Swamp Thing. But you weren't Swamp Thing. So this is the part where it gets a little bit complicated in the backstory. So back during the Vertigo run, that's all critically acclaimed, it was made clear at one point that Alec Holland was not Swamp Thing. Alec Holland was dead, and Swamp Thing came from the swamp where he died. And it believed that it was Alec Holland because it was implanted with memories and such, but it wasn't. That was from the Vertigo run. This one slightly twists some stuff. First and foremost, the people who become Swamp Things have a certain genetic predisposition. They have something in their bloodlines that, like, you are picked by the Green to become its guardian. And there's a legend that during a certain time, a certain person, blah, 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 greatest hero that ever lived, they thought that was Alec Holland. But when Alec died in his accident, he died so quickly that the Green couldn't latch on and, like, bring him to be a Swamp Thing. So rather than give up what could be their greatest hero, the Green tried to recreate its consciousness, his consciousness, into a new Swamp Thing, which is why I thought it was Alec Holland. Whether or not they did the right thing, who knows? But that's what they tried to do. And then, again, I don't entirely know how we got to this point where Alec Holland is alive and the Swamp Thing monster is not. Maybe that was in the Vertigo run. Maybe that was in a previous thing. I don't know. But Alec Holland's alive. He remembers being a monster. But this Swamp Thing makes it clear, no, that was a separate thing. You have his memories based off however you came back. But you were never a true Swamp Thing. But if you became a true Swamp Thing, if you became a true protector of the Green, you would have so much more power because you would not be pure green. You would be the red, the human, inside of the Green. That gives you so much more. As he's saying all this, he's wilting away because apparently in making contact with Alec, he had to give up his spot in essentially Swamp Thing afterlife. He had to leave, and now he's going to a true eternal rest. So he makes his plea to Alec, and Alec basically says, from what I saw of the Green, it kind of sucks. So no, sorry. And Swamp Thing's like, all right, that's fine, whatever. By the way, you mentioned a white-haired girl in your dreams? And he's like, yeah. And Swamp Thing's like, don't make contact. She's bad news, bro. So he goes back to his motel. He makes contact with the front desk person, goes back to his room, and then the front desk person notices a whole lot of flies coming in to her office. We cut back to Alec's room. The front desk person comes, knocks on the door, and then comes in swinging with a hatchet with her head on backwards. Alec manages to dodge, gets outside, and we see everybody at this motel has weapons, and they're coming after Alec, all with their heads on backwards. He parries, he dodges, he manages to get trapped, and then who comes in but someone on a motorcycle with a shotgun, saying basically, come with me if you want to live. He hops on the motorcycle, they drive away. He tells the person to stop, says thanks, and then asks who the hell they are. A person takes off their helmet, says, don't thank me, my name is Abigail Arcane, and I'm about to watch you die. It's the white-haired girl from his dreams. And she's got a gun trained on Alec now. I don't really like talking about other comics while I'm giving a review, so that way, if you're not reading that one, you don't have to worry about it. But if you haven't been reading Animal Man, or watching my reviews of it, I should say, definitely check those out, because these are so tightly interlinked, and I love them both so very much. This book, the art is fantastic. They get really crazy with the layouts, and when I first open up the page, I feel like I'm going to have a hard time following it. Like, where do I go to next? But it's so natural. It just, your eye just perfectly follows exactly where it wants you to go. The art's fantastic. The writing is great. I always like a good retcon that manages to not undo something that someone else did and only add to it. It's phenomenally done here in saying, like, okay, so yes, you're alive, and maybe we haven't figured that part out yet, but here's how you can become Swamp Thing again. I like that. It's good. Art overall fantastic. Writing fantastic. I'm going to give this 8. Yeah, 8.5, honestly. It's really good. I'm really looking forward to where it goes. So yeah, Swamp Thing number 2, continuing the Rot Saga.